Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Welcome. Hang on just a second. I've got a new thing to tell you about today. Here it is. I'm having a contest. You know how I always say how much I love the Portrait 3? Well, I decided it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is and give you one if you win the contest. How do you enter the contest, you want to know? Well, I'm going to have 5 videos, and each video is going to have a letter or 2 hidden in it. Once you get all of the letters and you unscramble the special word and you email it to me and my team at teampattyanne@gmail.com, you may be the winner. We're going to draw somebody randomly when I get to 40,000 subscribers. So let me tell you, I'm almost at 40,000 subscribers. So I'd love it if you would share this and help me get there. And once we get there, like I said, all you have to do is be subscribed, turn in the scrambled letters, unscramble so they make a word, and enter the drawing. I hope you win. So let's get started with the videos. I can't wait to teach you. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to use the Portrait 3 for every one of these videos that I'm going to take from start to finish. Now, of course, you can use your Cameo machine to do the same thing. And most of this stuff you can do in Silhouette Studio software and use it in your Cricut as well. So anyway, let's get started. Remember to look for the secret hidden letter so that you might win. Okay, as I said, this video is going to be about making SVGs, and this one is a little bit more intermediate because there's a few things that you'll have to do to make it into an SVG. The first time what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cut it out of cardstock, and then one of these, I think, for the next video, which is going to be, well, I'm not sure yet. It's going to be the print then cut vinyl that you can heat transfer onto shirts or whatever. So be sure to watch that last video that'll be coming up soon. Now for this one, I'll have linked down below for you where I got these images in case you want to get them. They are from DigiDoodleStudios.com. Let's see, I'm not affiliated with Dina over there, but I just really like her images, so I thought I'd use them again. Let me think. You can get any kind of image that you'd want. Last time, if you'll remember, I did use a Disney character. So there's lots and lots of options for you to choose from. So we're going to start with this little monkey guy right here. And I'm going to scroll way in so I can show you the problems I'm going to have with him right off the bat. Some of this, well, right here, for example, Dina, I believe, did put little lines here. Maybe fixed it on purpose. But if you'll notice, there are little open spots right here and here and here and here. There are many, many, many of them that I'll need to fix to get him to work properly. If I want to color him, you know, on my screen here, or if I even want to cut him apart into pieces so that I can cut it out of different colors of vinyl or different colors of cardstock. So let's scroll back out a little bit and get started. Okay, the first thing I think I'll do is I'll just run through this very quickly and show you the problems that you will have if you don't fix him. So as you remember from last time when we did the beginner SVGs, the first thing you do is come over here to the trace panel on the very right hand side. Click on that. And then you select the trace area just like that. Okay. Once you have the trace area selected and it looks good, you can up the threshold a little if you'd like. You just say trace. Then I can remove this part because I don't need it right now. And as we learned earlier in the beginning, I would just come up here to the upper left-hand corner and change the color to something I won't be using in my monkey. And in this case, I think I'll use this green color, okay? Then after that, because I want to change the colors of these different parts of the monkey, I can't click on things yet. What I need to do is take the monkey, make sure he's all selected, and come up here to Object, Release the Compound Path. And if you'll remember from the previous video, what that's going to do is put little boxes around everything so I can color them any color that I'd like them to be. So I'm going to click on Release Compound Path. Uh-oh, it didn't put little boxes around everything. So that means something's wrong. If I try to click on this part of the ear over here, I can change that to maybe a pink color. And I can get this part of the ear and make it pink. And I can do his little muzzle and make it whatever color I'd like. But I'm going to have a problem. Look, I cannot grab and color his face or his hair. I could continue and do these other pieces because notice when I click on them, it selects them. Here's the problem. There are openings in here. If I try to put something in here, it's going to sneak right out. It's going to sneak right out, as I said in that last one. Or it's going to sneak right out here, okay? You don't want your paint bucket when you pour it in there to sneak right out. You want it to stay there. So let's hit Control Z or the undo button and go back to where we were when we traced him. Well, actually, I want to go back to before I traced him and teach you how to fix this. So here he is, just brought in perfectly like this. This is so easy to fix, you guys, if you just do it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this little freehand tool. I'm going to get the one that says Draw Smooth Freehand and click on that. And I'm going to uncheck Auto Close, although that doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to start right up at the top with his hair. And I'm going to start drawing over here. I'm just going to draw, and holding down my mouse key, I'm just going through here. Keep holding it down until I get to the very end, and then release it. And you'll notice that did make a little line right there, okay? Now I can come up here back to the selection tool, the arrow, or I can simply hit the letter V as in Victor on my keyboard, and it will automatically select that. So V, see how that automatically selected it? And now this thing is still selected. Now if I'd like to, what I can do is change the point size. Now notice when I change the point size when I'm going up, look how thick that's getting. Okay, but I'll go back down. So it's about the same thickness as the other. So it looks like a 0.2 works pretty good. Click off. I'm done with that. So let's look at this piece right here where I'm circling. There's another opening right there that I want to fix. So I will once again come to this pencil tool, the second one over, the Draw Smooth Freehand, and I'm just going to start somewhere in this line and hold down. Remember, just keep holding my mouse down till I get to here. And there it is selected. I can come up here and click on this tool and then make that point size or the thickness of that line a little bit more. Maybe go again to a 2 just like I'd done before. Perfect like that. So I'll just continue doing this. But first, let's stop right here and look and see the difference. Notice this side on the left and this side on the right do not have lines, right? So I want to show you what's going to happen now if I was just going to go ahead and trace this. So I would come over to the trace tool again, say select the trace area, and go like this. Can bring it down a little further. Now I want you to notice something. Look right here at that line that I made right here, and look right here at that line that I made. Okay, those are going to help, and those are going to trace and close off those little areas. They're kind of making a dam. Think of it like that, a dam that's stopping the paint. Okay, so the paint can no longer go out here because we put a dam here. The paint can no longer sneak out this part because we put a dam there. But guess what? There's not one here or here or here. So we got to go back and fix some more of those spots. So let's scroll back in. Look at this one over here. Again, just come over here to this tool right here. It's called the Freehand Tools. I get the second one in because I like the Draw Smooth Freehand. Start here in this black piece. Hold down my mouse. See, it's leaving down little points as I go. And when I'm happy with where I'm at, I can stop. Hit the V on my keyboard to get the selection tool here, or come up here and click on it. But I'm just going to hit V, and then I'm going to change the point size. And I just like to do that. I'm not sure that I have to. Let's try it on this one to see if it'll work if I don't increase the point size. So again, let's come over to the drawing freehand tool. Get this. Come here, click, hold down my mouse and do this and stop. And I'm thinking that I don't even have to up it, but we'll see. I'll do the same thing here, hold down my mouse and do this. I think I have them all now. Let's scroll back out and see how this is going to work. Click on V, which it's not really necessary because I'm going to go to the select trace area again. And this time, notice right now, this line and this line are not showing up. However, if I'm able, without messing up and making all kind of junk show up, I can up the threshold. But see, those lines are getting jagged and I'm not crazy about that. So that's why I think it's better if you go ahead and change that line width. See this one right here? Even though I'm already up as high as I can go, I've made some of this stuff jaggedy looking, so my machine might cut that jagged looking. So let's not do it like that. Let's do the way I said originally. So since I have to change this one, I'll click on it to select it. Then I can still come up here and change its point size or the thickness of the line like that. Same with this one. Whoops, I got to select it and come up here and change its point size. And now I want to show you the difference of what we get. So let's say select the trace area. And I'm going to draw a box around it. And now check this out. Look at those lines, how perfectly now they get selected. So if I just say trace and I move the original off, now look at those lines I put on there. Be careful. Don't do anything yet. You need to go ahead and select this, change its color to maybe that purpley color, and then go to Object, Release the Compound Path. Now remember last time before we put those dams in there, we weren't able to color in his face or the hair part. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to work. We've got it just so. So let's go to Object, Release the Compound Path. Perfect, just like that. So now what I can do is I can select his hair, change it to maybe a dark brown. I can make his face a lighter brown. I can make his muzzle even a lighter brown. And his ears, I could click on this one, hold down my Shift key and click on this one, and maybe make those pink. And let's see, I guess I'll make his outer ears that dark brown, as well as his fingers. I'm holding down my Shift key all the while I'm selecting all of those things, and I'm going to make them the same dark brown I used before. So it's right up here. There's the pink and the other colors I used. I'm going to use that one. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I've got a problem here that I don't want to mess with. See these two little pieces right here? Honestly, I don't think they're going to make or break my image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take those right off there and delete them. Whoops, not that. The other little piece, and delete it. Okay, I can just draw a box around those and hit delete on my keyboard. Okay, now what? Oh, I might as well make his little mouth the same color of pink. I'm making it easier on myself. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, I think that these are white, so let's click on that one. Hold down Shift and click on this one, and I'll make those white. All right. Now what I have to do is, you remember when we made this a purpley color, that light color? I'm going to click on the very outside edge of him. Okay, there. And I know I've got the purple because you can see it up here. I'm going to change it to the color I actually want now, which is black, because I want him to have a nice black background like that. Okay, that looks really, really good. I do see a few issues that we have, and maybe you remember messing with these last time. So what I'm going to do is click on this purple eyebrow, hold down my Shift key, click on the thing directly behind it, come over here to the offset panel and say subtract. And what did that do? Well, let me show you. That subtracted or cut a hole right out of that brown. So we don't have to have a little teeny weeny piece of brown on top like, or black on top like that. All we need to do is subtracted out, and then the black from behind shows through. Well, I'm going to hit the undo button for a sec so I can get it back exactly where it was. And do the same thing with this piece. Hold down my shift key and do this. So I'm clicking on the piece I want to subtract. I want to cut that out. What do I want to cut it out of? This brown that's behind it. Come over here and get the modify tool, which is in the modify panel, and say subtract. Perfect. Okay, now you may have wondered, why didn't I do the little pieces on his muzzle at the same time? I couldn't, because the color that was behind them, or the piece of whatever, vinyl or cardstock that was behind them, was different. I have to select the same things. So for example, this, and I can hold down my shift key and get all these other little pieces while I'm holding down my shift key. And now while my shift key is still held down, I can click on this light tannish color like that. And now I can subtract. Perfect, just like that. So that's all you have to do. Now some of you may be wondering, well, what is that red right there? That's the cut lines. Even though they're showing up here, they will not show up because they have a width or a line weight of 0, and anything that has a line weight of 0, here's the line of the outline, and it's 0 points, it will not show up. It just shows where it's going to cut. But what you can do if those bother you is you can just grab the whole thing and come up here. This is the line color. This one over here is the fill color that you're using. We're going to change the line color to transparent right here. So now there's no longer a color showing up. Okay. Okay, the next thing that I would do, and I find it especially helpful if I'm using vinyl, is I would come up to this tool up here at the very top that looks like a painter's palette, click on that, and notice if I hover over it, it says select by color, and that's what I want to do. Usually when you select that, it opens up looking like this, by line. You want it to be by fill color, so I'm going to click on by fill. Then I'm going to look at these colors that I have in here, and I'm going to start with colors that I know are in it. So I'll start with the black, and actually the black is just one whole piece, so I can move it over like that. Then I'm going to go to this dark brown. Notice that it puts boxes around all the little pieces that are made up of dark brown. So I'm going to come up here to Object, make it a compound path, which is going to make it into one thing. Right now, notice I can take these pieces apart, right? I'm going to hit Control Z on my keyboard to move them back. When I have these selected and I come up here to Object, make a compound path, it's going to change it and treat this as if it's one piece all by itself. So wouldn't that be great to have the vinyl like that? Use your transfer tape and you can just transfer that all over top of this piece like that. Then I would continue down and get this color, and I'll come up here to Object, make compound path. Notice that's grayed out right now. The reason why that's grayed out is because it already is just one piece, so you can't really make it into one piece because it already is. All right, let's go to the white. Those are the whites of his eyes. I'll go to Object, make a compound path. Notice there is a keyboard shortcut. You can hit Control and the letter E to do the same thing, but I usually just come up here and say make compound path, and whoopsie, then I can grab them and whoops, not that. I can grab them. Sometimes I make the color a little darker so it's easier for me to move. Well, heavens to Betsy. Anyway, I'll just continue on. So we'll go to the pink now. Pink, Object, make compound path. There we go. And this should just be one piece, so I can bring it over here like that. So the only thing that we're missing are the whites of his eyes. And for some reason I'm having a hard time moving those, so let's see. Some of these extra pieces that you're seeing that are getting put boxes around it are the little pieces. Let's see where his whites of his eyes are. Again, I'm going to move this here. I'm going to right click and say send this to the back. I usually don't have this much trouble. There's an eye and there's an eye. Okay, so I'm going to click on those eyes and move them over now. And then I can move this. Now I'm going to bring this to the front. So I'm doing a few things that you probably won't have to do right here. Okay, so there he is finished up. Now there's going to be some pieces left on here that we don't want, and these pieces were probably the lines that I drew originally, so I can just delete those now. Watch. So what I usually do is I just go like this, draw a box around everything, whatever gets highlighted, and just hit delete on my keyboard. And then again, I can just bring him over here. But as I've shown you before, what I like to do is start with all of my parts over here on the left hand side of my mat, and then just bring them over as I use them. So I can come over here now and go to send. And I'll start with the black piece, so I can bring the black piece over here now. And notice when I click on this, it puts a line around it, and that's a cut line. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this for you, and I'll show you how I do this next. Okay, I'm putting the black cardstock on my mat, lining it up with the lines here. That's another reason why I prefer using this machine over the Joy, because I can use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I can do a print thin cut. There's just seems like there's a lot more that I can do with it. And by the way, I have a link to the portrait down below if you're in the market to buy one. I appreciate it if you use my links. Anyway, I'm going to hit the button to have this go in. And right now, I have this on heavy cardstock. I have it on auto cut, and I like to change the depth of my blade a little bit on mine because of how old my blade is. And as I've taught you time and time again, what I recommend always that you do is a test. So I'm going to click on the word test here. It's going to do a test cut on here. We'll see how it works out. Okay, now let's see how that worked. That worked well, and the triangle worked pretty well. I think I might up my setting just a little bit and make my depth a little bit higher and start again. Now, someone had asked me on a question in YouTube, if this test wasn't good, how can you move it over to have it test in a different area? Okay, I've been unable to figure out how to do that. If you guys know how, let me know in the comments down below. But what I've done is I just get another little piece of this same cardstock that I'm using, put it in the upper left-hand corner, take my page off I'm going to use, put the extra little piece up here, and test again until I get a good test. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to send this now. And then I'll meet you back here when this is done. Okay, as I've said before, I like to test first before I take the mat out so I can recut if I ever need to. This looks like a perfect cut, so I can take this out. Oops, I need to move my thing back a little bit. It keeps hitting, making that horrible noise. So let's take this off of here. Perfect. Okay, so here's the beginning of my monkey. Right here, his little hair pieces. He's turned out well. So now I've got to go ahead and move him off the mat and bring the next color, which would be the darkest brown, onto the mat, which I would assume is this. And I can tell that it is because of the way it's being colored. Now, since this isn't vinyl, of course, I might want to change these so I wouldn't waste as much paper. But I did make it like that for you to begin with. So I'll just use this dark color. And I'll just cut it the way it is. Like this. lining it up on my mat again. This is a thinner color or a thinner cardstock. So again, up here on my screen, I'm going to uncheck the black because I'm done with that. And I'm going to do the brown. And let's see. I could do another test, I guess. So let's go ahead and put this through. Since it's a totally different feeling of a cardstock. So I'll say test. Okay, and I'll eject that and let's see how that cut. Okay, that cut perfectly, so we are good to go. I'll head this in, put it in, and say send. And I'll let this cut and I'll meet you back here again. Okay, again I'm going to test this before I remove it from the mat totally. Make sure it cut well. It cut beautifully. And by the way, I am cutting this with my portrait machine, which is what I'm giving away. But I'm also going to show you just how to send this over to Cricut if you want to use it in your Cricut Explorer or your Cricut Maker. So stay tuned for that. As soon as I'm done cutting all these pieces, I'll show you that part. So I can eject this, take this off. There are the pieces that we need in addition to this little piece right here. Okay, there's a piece. All right, so I'll put these with this so that they'll be ready to be glued together. Yeah, since everything's worked so far, and this is pretty much the same thickness of cardstock, I don't feel a need to do another test cut. But if you do, before you ruin a whole page, why not do a test cut, right? It's the best, your best friend actually. So many people get frustrated with things not working properly and they say they ruined a whole sheet of vinyl or whatever. Well, do your test cut first and you'll know beforehand whether it's going to work. I'll do another one. Test. And again, when you're using the Cameo 4 or 3, if the test cut doesn't work, you can use these buttons over here to move your test cut to a different place. As far as I know, you're unable to do that with the portrait. So what I would recommend, again, is just get another piece of the exact same cardstock you're using, put it up here in the upper left-hand corner, and try your test again. Well, let's see how this test worked. All right, that worked perfectly. Look at that, the triangle and the square. So I can move those out and just get busy. Okay, and when this one is done, I'll go ahead and do the white of his eyes and the pink for the inside of his ears and the little muzzle down here, one at a time like I'm doing these, and then I'll meet you back here so you don't have to watch all of this. Okay, as promised, here is what you do for Cricut Design Space after you've made this wonderful cuttable SVG, whether you're doing it with vinyl or with cardstock. So here it is up on my screen again. Notice that I colored the eyes a different color this time. It doesn't matter what color they are really, because I can put any color cardstock or vinyl on my mat and that's what color. But it just makes it a lot easier for me to find them and to manipulate them. So all I would do is this for Cricut. I would either go ahead and delete this guy right over here because he's going to cause a problem if I don't, or I will select what's on my mat and go to File, Save Selection, save it, whoopsie, save selection to my hard drive. And I'm going to name him Monkey 2 for Cricut. And I'll just save him on my desktop. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to Cricut Design Space and I'll go to Upload, Upload an image, Browse, go to my desktop. See, there should be, here he is, Monkey 2 for Cricut. Click on that to open it. Ah, y'all, I forgot to do something over there. Did you notice? Was anybody hollering at me? I saved him as Monkey 2 for Cricut, but I didn't save him as an SVG. I saved him as a silhouette file. So let's try that again. I'll go to File, save selection, save it to my hard drive, and I'll name him Monkey 2. Whoopsie. 2 for Cricut. See what it says I saved it as last time? A studio file. That's not what I want. I'm going to get rid of that. Monkey for Cricut. But I'm going to save it as an SVG. Now, if you just have the free version of this program, of Silhouette Studio, you won't be able to save it as an SVG, but you can still practice this and see if you like it. I have links below for the free version if you want to just practice, but if you're using this for the Cricut, I also have a link down below for you to purchase it. So let's go now and save it as an SVG and check it out and see what happens now. So let's open Cricut this time and browse, and there it is, Monkey for Cricut. Now notice when I hover over this one, it says type of file, SVG. The other one, type of file, Silhouette Studio document. That won't work for your Cricut. You need to save it as an SVG. So say open, and now there aren't any warnings. I'll say save and insert, and he comes in perfectly just like this with just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, because those are all the colors that make him up. And we can just go to make it. And of course, when it comes to the, well, let me show you. If I say make it, I could put the tan on here, and then the black, then the brown, and the lighter brown, and the pink. And when it comes to the red, which is the eyeballs, instead of putting red cardstock or red vinyl on here, just put white, and it'll cut it out of white. So that's all there is to it for saving it for your Cricut machine. Now let me show you one last thing that might happen to you. Let's say you're over here and you decide to save it, and you just go to File, Save As, Save it to my hard drive. This time I'll name it Monkey 3 for Cricut, and I'll remember to save it as an SVG. But what I didn't do was I didn't get rid of that extra piece on the left, and my Cricut machine is going to balk at that, or my Cricut Design Space is, the software is. So I'll say OK. And now if I go to open this in Cricut, let's go to Upload. Well, let's cancel this. New. And replace. So now let's go to Upload. Upload an image. Browse. Okay, this was Monkey 3 for Cricut. Open. See, it came as a warning. It says the uploaded SVG contains the following items that are not supported. Do you want to import it anyway? And we'll say continue. Look what it is. It's that other little monkey I forgot to either delete or just select this guy. All's not lost, though. I could say save, and I could insert this. And once it's inserted, I could just ungroup this and delete this guy. And then we're back to just fine like we were before. So that's how easy it is to create SVGs, whether you want to use them with your Cameo, your Portrait, or your Cricut Explorer or Cricut Maker. So let's go back, those of you who are still sticking around, and I'll put this guy together for you so you can see what the final product looks like. Oh, and don't forget, one more video where you'll get a free clue to be able to win the portrait. All you have to do is unscramble the word and send it in to teampattyanne@gmail.com, and you'll be in the drawing for the free brand new silhouette portrait. So again, follow me down here and I'll put it together for you. If you're leaving now, I'll see you again soon. Don't forget, thumbs up and subscribe. Bye. Those of you who are leaving. The rest, hang on. Okay, here are all the monkey parts, so I'm going to start putting him together. Let's see, what shall I do first? Maybe this part. Okay, it looks like maybe this is supposed to go that way. Like that. Or maybe, yeah, that looks good. All right, so I've got my glue. Okay, I think I'll fast forward through this a little bit because this will be pretty boring in this is actually quite long, this video, so I'm going to fast forward now. Okay, there's the finished monkey. I think he turned out super duper cute. Remember, there's only one more video in this series, and that's going to be on making a t-shirt from start to finish. So I hope you'll join me. Also, remember to share this with people so I can get to 40,000 subscribers, because it's at that time that I'm going to pull the winner out of everybody who's answered the question of the scrambled word. So see you again next time. Thanks again for joining me. Love you guys. Bye.